Good morning to you. Welcome. It's Thursday morning, and here we are at another sort of diversion in this coronavirus time, with the announcement that from Monday things will get more restricted again because the infection rate is going up. So we're looking at further time ahead of us when we won't be meeting in any large numbers at all. It's something to face, and as we face it, we can have a thought today to occupy our minds on things of the Lord rather than these dreadful things we hear of in the news. Here we are looking at Luke 18 verses 11 to 27, which is the story of the people given money to trade with the nobleman who became a king, and he left £10 with his servants. He gave them the same amount. Each one was given the same amount. It's slightly different to the talent story that is a parallel to it in Matthew's Gospel, where each of the people was given slightly different amounts. But in this story, all were given £10, or 10 of whatever you might render a pound. In my version of the scriptures, which is the RSV, it says pounds, but the quantity was the same, equivalent to about 3 months' wages for a labourer. So they were all given the same amount, and they used it differently, and some returned the same again, doubled it up. Some made half as much again, and this poor man who stored it away in a napkin, verse 20, I was afraid of you, and he was condemned for not even putting it in the bank and getting interest on it. Well, I know if you put money in our banks at the moment, you don't get much interest at all. So they must have had a different sort of system there. I remember the days when you could put money in the bank and it would grow quite a lot. Well, it doesn't do that at the moment very much, and hasn't done for quite a long time. So that's a concept we're not really used to, really. But so this is all about people who are in the service of the person who is going away, the story. That's how the story is told. And it's just saying to us, really, that we are all his servants. Nothing can change that. We belong to Jesus. We are his. We have given our lives to him. But there is within all of us a different capability. But the Lord has put within all of us the Holy Spirit. And I think perhaps in this instance, where everyone is given exactly the same thing, maybe the thing that they are meant to use is the presence of the Holy Spirit. I don't know. Have a think about it. Because the other story, which is about talents, where they had different amounts of the talents, you could look at that and say, well, that's talking about people who have, some people are very talented and some people are less talented. Some people could put their hand to lots of different things, and other people are just able to do one thing, and they need to do that to the best of their ability. But this story reminds me of a church not a million miles away from here that had so many fundraising attempts because of the maintenance required on the church building, that when they had to raise some more money, the minister there decided to use this parable, and I think he used £5 actually as the starter amount, but it was a number of years ago. So he got lots of coins from the bank, and he gave every member of the church £5, 5 coins. And he asked them to use those 5 coins to raise money for the roof. And so he asked them to buy the resources for whatever they were going to do, with the £5, not to spend their own money, and then to charge for the things that they made or offered people, and then what they made at the end of it went towards the roof. And there were people who bought a set of knitting needles and some wool. There were people who bought coffee and the ingredients for cakes, all sorts of ideas they had. And they didn't use their own money, they used this money they'd been given. And they made a lot of money out of it. But the problem was that they were all in a small area, so everybody was running coffee mornings. So it did rather drain the area of money for a bit. But it was interesting to put this into actual practice, this story. But the truth is that some of us are more diligent than others in what we do. Some of us have a tendency towards being less committed to, I suppose it's a bit like the seed sown on the different kinds of ground. The different kinds of hearts produce different responses to the Lord. And it's a lovely story, and it's a warning, and it has a lot to say to us. So I hope that today you might read this story yourself and have a think about it and see what the Lord has to say to you through it. And I just pray that each of us will make a good return on what God has given us, using everything that we have for his kingdom, so that in the day of reckoning, we won't lose our salvation. There's no doubt about that. We won't suffer being excluded like the people in this story. I'm not sure that the Lord would do that to any of us. But there were enemies who did not want him. The last verse says, "Those enemies of mine who do not want me to reign over them, bring them here and slay them before me." There were enemies of Jesus around him all the time who did not want him to rule. They did not want him as Lord and Master. And there are people who, even though they recognize that Jesus is special and that Jesus has something to say to every one of us, they do not want to bow the knee to him. And those people will be excluded from the kingdom. But let us follow Jesus wholeheartedly, dedicating our lives to him, using every opportunity to bless him and to be part of his kingdom. And however small your circle is at the moment of people you meet, people you interact with, people you see on Zoom perhaps, or whatever, try today to be a blessing to them, to encourage them, to lift their spirits in the face of what we're facing in the future, and be a blessing wherever you go, whoever you meet today. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.